Inspired by sound.
Hello, Andre Louis here with you again with another Inspired by Sound video. This one is a musical breakdown. Haven't done one of these in a really long time, but this one I'm very excited to bring you because it is a labour of love and something I really have been looking forward to talk about since I got commissioned to do it last Saturday. Today is November 24th, 2022. If you're watching this on a Thursday in America, then happy Thanksgiving, and if you're in any other parts of the world, well, have a great day as well. Why not? Let's do this. There's a lot to talk about, so let's break this thing down. I'm in the Logic project, and if you're looking at the screen, as some of you will be, you may notice only 2 tracks. Because I've got them in folders here, so let's expand the first one, which I've called Melodic. And we start with piano from Piano Tech. By the way, as always, everything I talk about in this video will be linked in the video description. So you can go and find links, and if there's any product that interests you or you want to know more about, you can find out about it. So I started with this sound, and I'll solo it, and you can hear it as we go into this piece now. This is the Ant Petrov Felt. By the way, it's quite a soft sounding piano. I wanted something mellow for this one. So I should talk a little bit about this piece as we go as well. So I was commissioned to make a piece for a blind organization, I believe, called Van Wood Consultancy. And they do this thing called Lean In, which, if I'm not mistaken, is something that allows high schoolers or post-high schoolers to look into getting work and things like that. I've linked to the video that uses this score in the video description as well, and in the card that pops out somewhere at the top of the screen, so you should be able to find that at your leisure. So I'm going to be talking about all these different parts in here, not in particular order, because they come in at different points in time. So we're just going to sort of go down the piece and find bits and pieces that you might find interesting. So if I play it from the beginning, you'll hear a lot of stuff kicking at once, and I'm going to go find the thing that plays along with the piano in this melodic section. So here's a track called Chugging 1, because it's basically strings that chug, if you will, and that's why I've called it that. Solo it. And this is Spitfire Audio Ambient Solstice library doing this. It's just quite simple but effective, and I like it. Alright, so I'll unsolo. Oh, here's the first bass track that we hear as well. So I'll do shift space and play this from the beginning. This bass, if I'm not mistaken, what is this? Ah yes, Project Sam Orchestral Essentials 1. One of my favorite go-to libraries for all sorts of orchestral sounds. Yes, I know I have bigger, some might even say better libraries, but I tell you what, sometimes the tried and true classics really serve well. Listen to this. It's just so relaxed. I'll go and solo the runs, lost that? Where you gone? There you are. Soloing the wrong thing. There we go. That's what I wanted to show you. Too many tracks in here to get lost. There are about 22 tracks in total in this project, so I'm going to lose my way a time or two, I can promise you that. Really cool sounds together. And I just sort of built this up as I went along. What I wanted here was to sort of show movement. And when you watch the video that goes along with the score, you'll understand why I did that. I didn't want it to sound sort of like corporate rubbish, you know? I wanted it to be something that would take you on a journey from start to finish. And you'll notice that as this score goes on, it does go through some serious journeys. I've also got project markers in here as well to go between really important sections that I think need talking about. So we'll carry on a bit. We've only gotten to like 13 bars here. Now the drums are playing out of sync because the drums, which I'll talk about later, come from another product called Cinematic Cue Builders, and they have to start exactly on the correct bar. There we go. Everything's back in sync now. So you may notice that from here, bar 18, a few more things start to kick in. and I need to find where they are. Where's that coming from? So many things here. Ah. Well, the piano changes for a start, which you can hear up here. We went from sort of C major / A minor to an open now F major type deal, or D minor, depends how you look at it. Let me unsolo that. There's another change coming up. I'm going to mute the piano actually as we go here, so listen to the piano without it playing. Suspended there. A lot of stuff going on. So, can I find what's actually going on? I told you there's so many things in here, I'm going to get lost, but that's all right. We'll get lost together, yeah? What do you say? I know I've got some legato strings playing at some point. 2 of them. Oh, here's the first. What do we got here? Albion Solstice again, Spitfire. That was also one of the chugging strings. Just playing this melody under the bass. And it stops and it moves on. And the bass, again, I'll join it with the legato strings. Here we go. If you want the metronome for a marking. So there's a lot. I say a lot going on, but it's just lots of little bits and pieces, and you don't notice it in the main score either. Like if you're listening, you might not even catch that. I'll play it again from a couple of bars back so you can get a feel. And I think as well, something's hiding in here. Where is it? Do you hear that? There's like a brass piece going fwum, fwum, fwum. Now, where are you coming from? Is that I think... Found it. So there's chugging 1 and chugging 2. Now, chugging 2 comes from Symphobia 4 Pandora. Yes, it does. I've just looked here. And that is playing low brass and single notes. And if I put it with the other chugging as well, both of them soloed together, then you have two different libraries from different manufacturers playing in solidarity together. I like that. Now let me mute the chugging 2 sound. I want you to hear this one chugging by itself, if you remember. Again, that's Albion Solstice. And if I put that back, and I'll unmute that. Now what I'll do is actually mute these 2 chugging tracks so that you can hear them so that they're not there, and it kind of makes the piece a lot more holy, if you will. A lot of gaps in it. It's quite bare. Let's put it back. All right, let's move on to the next section. So we're at bar 26 now. Here we go. 2, 3. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. And I'm kind of waiting to do the drums all over from scratch again because I want to talk about them separately. So we're kind of just going to do the melodic part now. So that section is quite bare, as in not a lot happens necessarily. However, and that thing is what happens when you play from the wrong bar. And Midi chase, by the way, Midi chase is when the track is if there's a note that was held over from a bar before where you started, then what happens is the chase kicks in and makes it seem like it's all out of sync. So technically it is. So I should really play from a bar or 2 behind, like here. Then it wouldn't happen. We'll listen to runs again. That one, sorry, not runs. I'm chugging. There we go. Runs are something else. Right, so the chugging tracks, that's the start of this phrase. That's chugging 2 there. And then we'll listen to chugging 1, going back to bar 24, 5, 6. It's kind of newsy, isn't it? But with everything else, I didn't want it to necessarily feel newsy, although it is imparting news to you, the listener, the viewer. And then we go upper key, a modulation from D minor to F minor here. More important news is coming, or more important information is coming. But what I meant was I didn't want it to be news broadcasty, but newsy is a different thing. So yeah, we're going to go from here to there. Now, in a minute, this will happen. And we'll talk about that. But first, I'm going to go back to 26 and let it play into the modulation at 32. Oh, actually, I'll go back 2 bars because otherwise it doesn't play properly. Here we go. Now here's this flute thing that you just heard. And a lot more things start to happen here. So let's break down what we've got going on here. This flute thing, or if you will, is Colors Adaptive Runs from Project Sam again. And it's a lovely library where if you play softly, you get a minor and you play harder. You get a major. And if you move the mod wheel away from you, it'll run backwards and harder again. And the other amazing thing is if you put your sustain pedal down and then hold the key, it'll do that indefinitely. And it does it in time with your piece. They have this thing called adaptive sync where you can play the key at some point during the bar and it will line up. I don't have it turned on this piece, on this track rather, this particular track, but it is turned on for when we get to the risers, which are in the drum section later. One of the risers anyway. One of them will not have it because it is not from that product and doesn't have adaptive sync. But adaptive sync is one of a composer's best friends, and more companies have started to adapt it in recent years from what I know. Super useful. So anyway, this, if I solo it and put the metronome on, you will hear that this run lines up with the bar. It'll line up with the bar based on tempo, but I haven't turned on adaptive sync for this particular section. See, it just lands right where you want it to. I hit it on the beginning of the bar, and it did what it was supposed to do. All right, I'll turn this off now. There's more to talk about. There's quite a bit to talk about, and this section is getting more sounds building up together to make this thing come alive. The drums get heavier. Another run. I'm looking for... Where are you hiding? There you are. So this track here is from Symphobia. Oh, no, it's not. Sorry, it's from Spitfire BBC Symphony Orchestra. I meant to say Symphony Orchestra, not Symphobia. My bad. And I'm just using the Violins 1 leader sound here. And if I play that in context... play, please. Thank you. There we go. All right, so we've got to talk about a bit of that and a bit of this. Let me see. Yes, the chugging 1, I think, also plays here. I think we showed that, didn't I? Yeah. Let me solo the... All right, we'll go back. So I've got 3 things soloed. Chugging strings 1 and 2 and legato strings 2. Quite mournful, that violin, isn't it? All right, and it carries on from there, so there's more. I'm going to show you the piano as well at this section, because you may notice it's sort of it's playing like these sort of chord on, chord off things. There's a name for this and I forget what it is. It doesn't need to take center stage at this point. Really, the violin is singing you a melody. And then we move on to the next section. Yeah, I want to talk about this bass part here. I switched into triplets, into 6/8 if you will, or 3/4. And the reason I did that is because it kind of complemented the drums and gave a bit of syncopation and a bit of movement. And what I'll do is I'll go up and play the piano as well. Here we go. By the way, this piece at the moment is taking up about 32 gigs of RAM with all of these tracks, and a lot of these large orchestral libraries, you know, they've got multiple mic positions, and it's rather a big, fat piece, this one. So yeah. We'll move on to the next section now. Actually, I had to show you that's the sustain pedal I was telling you about earlier, but at an octave higher. Now, if you're looking at the screen, you might notice there's runs 1 and runs 2 here. Now, why did I do that? I'll tell you. Because when I was putting this piece together, this sound was fine at that level. But when I went up an octave, it was really, really loud. And you know, of course, some of you are thinking, well, why didn't you automate it? Well, I did try. I tried to turn the thing down and just have it go down, but it just wasn't happening that day. I don't know what was happening. It was against me. So I just decided I would just split it off into its own track for a couple of notes of a piece. So you could really say this track is a track short, but it's the same sound, but slightly modified. Not only is it a little bit quieter, but it is actually a little different. The microphone is slightly further back in the room, so it's as if I made the flute player stand a little further back from the mics, as well as turn down, so that those louder parts don't overpower the entire thing. Because believe me, it was really loud, and I was confused, and I was like, what's happening? Why is it happening? I don't like it. So I told it to stop being loud, and then it stopped being loud, and everything was happy. So yeah, there we go. Now for another change entirely. What happened? We gained guitars. All right, we've got to talk about this, don't we? So from bar 42, we'll go up to guitar 1, I believe. Is it guitar 1? Yeah, it is. All right. This is Native Instruments Session Guitarist Strummed Acoustic 2, taking a lot of the brunt from everything else at this point. And if you guitarists are turning in all your virtual graves right now, I apologize. I can only apologize. I'm nobody's keyboard guitarist. So these kind of sample libraries that basically play themselves when you play chords are my bread and butter. I love them. That's all I can say. Let's play it muted. I'll go back 2 bars so you can hear it in context. New bass line as well. So you notice the guitar, the way it's playing, I think it's plectrum, so it's adding quite a lot of percussion to it as well, which I really enjoy. So let's break down what's all playing here, because boy, there's a fair bit. There's a new bass line that's appeared. This is Spectrasonic's Trillion. Very simple. If you're listening on an iPhone speaker or some kind of phone speaker, you're not going to hear that. I would encourage listening on decent speakers or headphones. There's a lot to unpack. Let's put the bass and guitar together because it's kind of nice. They move together wherever possible. There's a lot to unpack there. So we're just doing it sort of these 8-bar chunks. What else is in here? I have to basically go down and solo. Okay. Our chugging strings are still here. Let's listen to that section together. We'll put them both together and I'll break them apart. So that was both together. Let's play the first one separately. And swap. Hang on, I'll go down to the track. Here we go. You can see the lights as they play. If you can see at all, there's lights on my keyboard that show the lights and the notes that are being played at the same time that they're being played. It's really cool. That sounds weird, doesn't it? Because when it's not in context, it sort of seems like it's broken and not working right. But it is. When it's in the mix, you don't hear that sort of sample gap. So let's put it in the mix, you can hear it all together. Yeah, my goodness. A lot of stuff there, and it's just pretty crazy. The next section brings back legato strings, and I believe this time they're playing in harmony. So if I... Yeah, okay, I'll go back 2 bars because I want to show you what's coming up next. It's a continuation of the previous section that we just heard, but there's other things that come in and out as this goes along. So what we got here? This is the end of the previous. The bass gets a bit more adventurous. I'll solo that in a sec for you. Stop right there. Let me show you these legato strings that are doing these different lines together, sort of weaving in and out of harmony. I was really proud of this part when I came up with it, I must say. Let's see, here we are. I went back too far, sorry about that. Here we are. All right, so that's the one of them. If I swap over to this one, are you going to play? Yep. Might seem a bit crazy listening out of context like that because things don't always line up as you'd expect, but it fits. I promise it fits. I'm going to solo both of these together and put the metronome on. And take away now. All right, and I'll play them back in context now and you can hear the difference. Stop, because that goes into a whole other thing. I'm not ready for you to hear that yet. Nope. All right, bass 2. We've already heard from the trillion bass. This section, as I say, is a bit more adventurous with the bass. A little bit more. Not too out of character or anything, but, you know. Here we go. It's quite fun, really. What I'll do is I'll add the guitar in as well, so you've got some context here. I want you to hear it with the guitar. Guitar 1. There are 3 guitar parts. Yes, sometimes the guitar does not know when to stop playing, you know, guitarists already. Just carry on and on, wouldn't they, if you gave them a chance? So you kind of have to do a note off key and say, "Oi, stop playing, mate. I'm not ready for you yet." So yeah, there's a lot to unpack in that one. I probably missed some tracks playing, but you'll get to hear the whole score at the end without me talking over at least much of it, so you can enjoy it for yourself. But yeah, That's that section. Now we've got to move on to this other bit. So I'll bring in some context for you. Here we go. Hey, you're not supposed to be there yet. Where are we? All right. And that's a whole other thing again. So this was just an 8-bar section, which is talking about work after high school and all the sorts of things that you can do if you are serious and put your mind to it. So the way I wrote this, I should talk a little bit about this as I go along, was I was given an audio guide to write to. So I tried to write different sections based on the speaker and what they were saying and the way that they spoke it. So I was basically sort of making an emotional piece based on the energy of the person talking as much as I could. So yeah, I did this over a period of 2 days, 4 hours per day, Saturday evening and Sunday morning. And I put all this together, in 8 hours. It was a bit crazy, but stressful, but a lot of fun. I believe I did fun and good work. And yeah, there's more to talk about. So let's carry on. That, by the way, that piece, that section of this here, doesn't have a lot to talk about because it's quite bare if you hear it. There's only 3 things playing. There's one drum kit, a bass piece, and a guitar piece. And I will just show you the bass part. Which actually is one of my favorite parts, by the way. Just saying. There's a lot going on in terms of the bass part. Because it was quite bare, I could afford for the bass to get a little more adventurous. A bit like the previous section, but a bit more than that. And the guitar part together. See, it's kind of pushing with the bass, the guitar part, which I had a lot of fun doing, I will say that. Yeah, now that guitar slide, you don't even hear when the piece is actually on its way. So let me see. I want to take you to the end of that part. I'm going to mute the guitar part. You can just hear the bass and drums. It's a brush kit. I'm going to stop there because I'm going to take you back just to solo the guitar part if it will let me do it. See, that's what happens. But if I play everything in context, you will not hear that slide unless you are really, really, really listening carefully because it's hidden under a layer of sound. Listen to this. You wouldn't catch that. So the next section begins, and if you notice, it's a whole change of pace, if you will. We've had quite a few of those already, didn't we? Start with sort of orchestral, we move into sort of news-esque. I don't want to say news corporate. Then we move into this funky bit, and then we move back down again in a whole different direction. So I'll take you through this and then in context so you can hear the changes. There's a lot there, so let's talk about it. Let's start here. I believe, yes, we have a new guitar player in the mix. Doesn't come in until now. This is some session guitarist Electric Mint from Native Instruments again, playing this lovely melody, which when I found this, I was just like over the moon. This feels so beautiful to me. Come on, even you guitarists who hate keyboard guitars, gotta love the melody in that. That is stonking. I just love how that feels. Come on, just agree with me. Raise your hand in the comments if you agree. So let's talk about the rest of it. There is a key section here now. We've got a whirly playing. This is Piano Tech, and this is the first time we hear from this sound. The whole piece comes in now, along with that second guitar. Let's solo it. Now, why did I do that? Why did I put a whirly in this? The answer is actually quite cliche. I was thinking of Ray Charles. Not that necessarily he would play like that, but I know he likes whirly. So there you go. Put them two together, the guitar part and the whirly. Now, the thing is, if you're not careful, whirlies, because of the way that they sound, they take up a lot of guitar frequencies. So I tried to pick sounds that would not kind of clash with each other, and also notes that wouldn't get in the way of each other. So you tell me if you think I did good or bad. Feel free to let me know in the comments. Let's put the bass with this as well. Yeah, I like it. I wonder what you guys think. Let me unmute all the things that are muted. There we go. Just see if there's anything else I need to show you. Yeah, there is. Okay. We have more chuggings. I think both chuggings tracks are here, actually. Yeah, they are. Notice there's quite a bit going on now. It's building up. I didn't want to make it overly busy. And I really hope I haven't done that. When you hear the audio portion to this video in the link, of course, you can tell me what you think. Come back to it and tell me. But I'd be interested to know what you all think. Can I call myself a media composer yet? I want to. Time for a new section, boys and girls. Here we go. Oh, go away. I'll stop you right there. We have to talk about this. So we've got more chugging. We've got more of the guitar. But the piano also comes back now, and the piano does this. Context. Keys, guitar, piano, together. Notice that the guitar portion has changed here. It's the same guitar melody as previous. It's the same sound, just playing a different way, different pattern. I really like how that's come out. So, yeah. Oh yes, this bass is back again. The first bass, which is the pizzicato string bass from Orchestral Essentials 1. And I should put it with... All right. Bass and chugging number 2. Bass 1, chugging 2. It's meaty, isn't it? Maybe you think I'm crazy with all these strange juxtapositional things going on. You're probably right, I am a bit crazy. But it's fun. It's take away the keys. Guitar 2, bass 1, and chugging 2 are soloed at present. There's a lot there. So it's pretty wild, and it gets a little crazier, I think, possibly. We'll see. Play this part again and we'll move on. Now this is more of the same, however there's a few new elements here. Guitar number 1 comes in, and 2. Let me see where I am. There we go. It's playing higher. Let's put these two together, guitar 1 and 2. Oh no, I was wrong. Guitar 2 is gone, so it's back to guitar 1 to make way for guitar 1. However, you might hear some lovely warm strings down here. Where are they? Here they are. So you were listening to Audio Imperia Jaeger here. Full ensemble, sustained strings. And the nice thing about that actually is that it kind of sits very nicely with the guitar, I think. I've got to take it forward another section here. They were playing in the first part as well, which I didn't remember. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. By the way, when I unsolo this strings track, we'll be at the end of the track in terms of all the melodic stuff. And then we got to talk about the drums, which won't take nearly as long, by the way, because there's not that many of them. So yeah, context. You didn't see that coming, did you? No, you didn't. Bet you didn't. Oh, yes. Well then, let's talk about this final section, shall we? Luckily, there's not too much to unpack here in the melodic section, so let's just get it over and done with. The keys play a key part. Everything's all broken. Okay. Can you not break, please? Yeah, okay. Have to go back, otherwise things don't play properly. Keys! It's a bit funky now. This is the end of the piece, and it's very motivational, uplifting. Mr. Horton, Gary Horton, who is the end speaker in this section, I think, is saying that he's been there and done that, and he found life after high school and did a lot of cool things. And I just thought, I need something that really encompasses that you can move on with life and be good and great and do all fun things, you know? So I wanted something that would sort of encompass that. So yeah, I kind of brought in this funk section. We have a new guitar player, by the way, that only comes in for the last 8 bars of the piece. The poor thing. Oh, dear. So what we got? It's Electric Mint again. Just doing that last part. Actually, I was wrong. Electric Mint also is here in the previous section, which I didn't pick up on. Here it's playing. I told you I'd lose my way, didn't I? Well, I did. So yeah, it's in the last section before the last section, the penultimate section and the last section. So here you go. Soloing that. See, it's a bit funky, it's a bit swung there. And I'll go back because and put the bass as well. I've gone back. Where have I gone to? a long way. How about that? Yeah, I know you're playing that. It's bass 1. I'll find my way in a sec. Don't you worry. It'll all come to pass in a minute. Too many tracks, too many ways to be. Oh, okay. There we go. And that ends like that. All right, let me unmute all of these things and unsolo all of these things. So we'll go back. So the one thing I can do, and the reason I've got these melodic tracks and drums tracks in folders is because I can solo each section individually. So the entirety of all the sections, I should say. So I can solo the drums or solo the melodic stuff, which is good because I can sort of hear all these things. And in a minute, I will do that before we move on to the drums all the way from the beginning. And I'll just talk and commentate as we go through it. But okay, legato strings are also playing in the end section, which I didn't remember. Hey, how you doing, stringers? Different libraries, same company. And then they sort of crescendo up and then fade away and cut. So there we are. All right, what I'm going to do is collapse this melodic stack, which I've just done. If you're looking at the screen, you notice it's gone away. All right, and now let's solo just melodic all the way through and talk about little bits as we go. From the top. Okay, so we recap. We start with piano and bass 1 playing there. I'm not going to try and remember all the names of all the things because I tell you what, I'm going to forget something. But it's nice to hear it with no drums, and I'll do the same with drums at the end as well before playing you out entirely. So if you've come with me so far, you've got a little bit more to go, but I hope you're enjoying this content and that you find it interesting, educational, something. This is the power of what you can do in 8 hours. Had a lot of fun doing this, I will say that. A lot of fun. Drums are going to be so weird solo by themselves because there'll just be no melodic content. Well, there'll be one sort of melodic thing because I'll talk about that as we go actually. There is a track called Riser 1 and Riser 2 in the drum section, which you'll see shortly. And Riser 1 actually is kind of melodic, but it's also drummy, so I decided that I wouldn't separate it from its riser brethren and I would stick it with the drums. I didn't want them to be separated. This part is fun because you've got the triplet bass part, you see. And now a change of scenery right now. So we come out of orchestral into this. Because I'm strange. I mean, you must have worked that out by now, surely. And you've got the strings, legato strings 1 and 2, weaving in and out harmonically. And then you've got this lovely sort of double-tracked guitar tone here. And if you remember, the brush drums are playing in this section, so the melodic part here is very sparse, just bass and guitar. And the guitar slide with the runs, really cute, but under all the big drums you will never hear it. Chugging strings, melodic guitar, and there's a guitar hidden under there, which I showed you, guitars 2, but it's very, very quiet in the mix, which is nice. Guitars 1 makes a reappearance now. Maybe I should expand that melodic stack so you can see what's playing actually. I didn't think of that because I'm blind, sorry about that. And we come to the ending with a slightly swung section here, which I quite like. And that's the ending, at least for that section. Aren't you pleased? Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Okay, nope, we've got to start all over again. It's drums time. Let us start with this sound. This sound is Riser 1. And it comes from Project Sam Orchestra. No, it does not. It comes from Project Sam Symphobia 4 Pandora. It starts the piece. And it's kind of a bit warm and understated at the beginning. And this also uses their adaptive sync technology that I talked about previously. It is the first of their libraries to do so, and they've made others do that since. So, all right. Riser 1, I'm going to leave alone because it kind of comes and goes. But we must now find the first drum track that isn't a riser and see. Here it is. So I'll take this in with the metronome as well so you've got some context. 3, 4. So what are we listening to here? We're listening to, it just says contact, but I know this to be Cue Builder Cinematic Rhythms from Red Room Audio. This was a lifesaver for this project because I had a very, very fast turnaround time on this. And I had to get this thing out from Saturday evening, and I had to get it to them by Monday because they had a deadline to meet. So I stopped, dropped, and rolled, and I put this together in a short space of time. Now, why is that important? Because libraries like this are an absolutely invaluable tool in the writing arsenal when you are doing work like this. I'm going to play just random keys on the keyboard, and they will trigger drum loops and ideas. Let go. And I've set it up so that when I let go, it will actually end on the beginning of the next beat, or bar rather. Is it beat or bar? Okay, beat. Let go. So if I let go now, it stopped on the next beat. And I did that so that I wouldn't have to think about it too hard. This is quite customizable. A lot of these libraries are quite customizable. And all bar one of them is being run inside of Native Instruments Complete Control Keyboards ecosystem. One of them isn't, because at the time I did not have presets for it, so I'm running it natively in Logic. This is a contact library, and there's all sorts of these loops here, so I don't know what I used necessarily. I've used different bits and pieces. So this drum track is quite extensive and goes, it doesn't go through the entire piece, of course, you know that, having heard it now. You can tell where this thing would not be, but it is certainly at the beginning. Let's look at regions. So it goes at least from bar 2 to bar 27, and then it has a stop. So there's a lot going on there. It's quite quiet, but I trigger different sounds at different parts. It's kind of weird out of context, isn't it? There we go. Another one of these loops. And if you feel let down by the fact that I didn't play all of this in, I'm sorry. But I really wanted to turn this around as quickly as I could, but maintaining integrity. And this was, / is, a fantastic library. And it's the first time, by the way, that I've used a lot of the libraries that you're hearing today. Some of them I just hadn't had a use for before, but I owned them. And I pulled a lot of stuff out of the bag of library tricks. A lot of things. And that's where that currently ends. So we move on to drums 2 here. I believe this comes in. Yeah, it does. It comes in at bar 2. Okay, I thought I nudged something out of alignment there. I did not. I'm glad about that. All right, what do you got? Just a hit. Just one solitary hit there at bar 2. Is that what you've got? Oh, it's doing just incidental hits there. Okay, so at bar 25, this is another preset from the same library with different things in it that I wanted. That's why it sounds like the previous, because it was, essentially. If I put it back in, you can hear it now in context with other things. So it by itself doesn't necessarily fill the whole room up as I wanted, but it does really help to add. If I mute that drum track, see, it's taken a lot away. Click back. So that's Red Room Cinematic Cue Builders. Like I said, these will go back quite quickly. We're already on drums 3. I'm not going to spend all my time on here because the melodic stuff is the most interesting stuff, but of course drums do play a big part in this piece, so we have to discuss them. All right. Bar 34 is this sound. What have we got here? We have Albion Solstice again making an appearance for the 3rd time, I believe, in this project. And this is a kit from Albion Solstice I really like, and it does complement the other drums above as well. I've got these two, drums 2 and drums 3 solo together now. It's quite tribal almost. And if you want some context here, I'll go back to bar 33. I'll mute drums 3 and 2. No drums. And then we carry on. This is still playing. Drums 2 is also playing at that point. That's what we heard earlier. Alright, so we'll move on. Oh, guitarist, do behave yourself. It's not your time to shine anymore. You've had it. You're done. Come on. Alright, what have we got here? Okay, this is a little cymbal intermission from the brush kit that comes in later on. I think he just wanted to make an early appearance. It wasn't his time to shine yet either. But if you listen, here he is doing, or she. It's just an accent. Anyway. Another cymbal crash at bar 34. Why is that there? Because it's the start of another section. And here is where this drum kit here from Addictive Drums, brush kit, the modern jazz brushes, has its place. And here we go with that at bar 58. That's basically it, I believe. Do you do anything else? Oh, yes, you do. Apparently you do a crash here into the end section. Okay, and that's all you do. So you're basically incidental apart from this one section, which is the funky part, or funky part 1, if you will. If I may bring your attention to the way that the bass and the bass drum play together. It's really important, and I did this for a reason. I wanted them to feel unified, because teamwork makes the dream work. So listen again. Even that part there, da-da, the brush hits as well land on the bass accents. We go there. Drums 5 is next, and where do we start? Bar 66. All right. What are you doing? Are you doing anything? Ah, that's a muted region. There were more drums at this point, but that got muted. The region is there, but it's not important. This is the more important one. So what you're listening to again is another drum loop, this time from Stylus RMX from Spectrasonics, because time was crunchy and I had little of it. So yes, I used another drum loop. At least for the addictive one, I did play it in. I know. Yeah, you're all thinking, well, you're a finger drummer by trade. Why didn't you play everything? I know, I'm sorry. I appreciate that may suck. This is funky part 2, if you will. All right, and drum 6, the final one. This was a late addition because the people who I sent the video to didn't want as much drums in one section, so I came in with a late addition from Project Sam, Orchestral Essentials 1, making another appearance. The first one was bass 1, and now we have drum 6. So what do we got here? Cymbal for the intro for the riser 1. Very useful. Another cymbal crash. Very gentle piatti, I believe that's called. Orchestral cymbal at bar 9. Another cymbal riser at bar 16. It kind of lines up nicely with the addictive drums, cymbal, swirl and crash thing as well, so it's all playing together nicely. And then the drums really come into their own from 72 bars. And yes, I did play these. Look, I promise, I played all these ones. This is no loop here. I do like these drums. They're big and fat. All right, time for some context for you. Here we go. I'll mute them. And bye-bye. Oh no, they play some more. Muted. The only drums carrying all the weight now. Everything rests on these drums. And that's the end of that whole thing we've already talked about. There's one last track which I haven't touched on, which is Riser 2. And Riser 2 is the one that I talked about that is not inside of Complete Control, but it could now be. This is from Roland's orchestra board, SRX orchestra board. I used to use these, I would say, as a kid, quote unquote. I was more a sort of post-teen. And these sounds go back to my sort of early production years, but Roland Cloud recently became accessible to blind people, and I wanted to use old sounds that I really enjoyed using, so I did. So if I show you, I'm basically this piece or track only does one thing. It only has one job. And it's to do that over and over again in different parts of the track. Just that one sound, over and over again. If I unsolo it, you can hear it where it's context. It's 25 bars. So basically, it goes along with its counterpart, Riser 1, which we already talked about. And it just comes at different parts. I'll take you through all the different parts that it plays. Another one there. That's 48 bars. It comes in again at bar 65. All these different parts. 73 bars. And 97 bars. Right at the end. And if I solo these two riser tracks and then I take you through the parts where they play together, you will sort of see that they usually line up. Riser 1 and 2, they're important parts of the whole caboose, if you will. All right, and again. And again. Softer. And again. And again. That did not line up properly. Go back a bar. How about that? Oh, okay, this one is not supposed to line up properly. It's just, the drums are out of sync. Ignore that. Sorry about that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I brought that last one in earlier so that the crash of another drum kit could take its place. Okay, I didn't do anything wrong there. I was like, oh no, I've ruined it and I've sent it to them and it's already out in the wild and there's nothing I can do about it. So, okay. So from the top, just solo drums. We've heard solo melodic. All right. So do you remember I talked earlier about the fact that there's a melodic part in one of the drum tracks? Well, that's Riser 1. And Riser 1 and 2 are on, you know, they do a similar job. So it seemed only fitting that they should share the space together. I could have put Riser 1 in the melodic section and then Riser 2 in the drum section, but I thought that would look sort of what's the word? Anti-symmetric. Yeah, that's the word. Got to be careful how I say that. Anti-symmetric. So I put them together. because Riser 1 also does have quite a lot of percussion. It's got grand casses and tips in there and everything. So I made the executive decision to put them together. So yeah, we're commentating this again. We did the melodic one first, and now it's drums. And I believe, I should have left the thing expanded. I'm an idiot. Here we go. Riser 1 and 2 playing together. We talked about that. Drums 2, I think, is now taking center stage. If you're still here, I said this earlier, if you're still here, you're a trooper, and I thank you for watching this far. By the way, we're nearly done. After this, I'm just going to talk you out, play the whole thing in full, both melodic and drum parts, and you've made it. Only a bit more to go, and then you can go and have a great big drink of something if you want to. I thank you for staying with me this long. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you get something out of it. Said that already too, but I'm just killing time, okay? Just go with the flow. Go with the flow. It's so weird hearing this out of context. No melody. I'll tell you what though, leave me in the comments any libraries that you think, oh, I like that, I might buy that. And don't forget to look in the description for links to everything used here today. There is a lot. And I can pretty much say that it's going to take me almost as long to make this video, and you only know how long it is, I don't yet know, for me to get all the links to all the products used in this piece. Because it is a lengthy one, and so it will be quite a while before I get all the stuff together. But what I do is I get the video uploading to YouTube while I'm getting all the links so that it's maximizing time, and I'm multitasking, because multitasking is the way to go. So that's what I'm going to do. So yeah. That's very forceful, isn't it, right there? I kind of like how Albion Solstice and Project Sam Orchestral Essentials 1 play together here. One has reverb and one doesn't, but that doesn't seem to really matter overall. They're working together in harmony regardless of that fact and doing what they do best. And we're at the end. Just one little drum track from Spectrasonics carrying the entirety of everything. There might be actually two keys playing at once, I actually can't remember. B flat to end it all. And to think, we came from sort of A minor. We've gone up a lot of modulations and weird things, haven't we? Alright, so for this, I'm going to unsolo the drums. I'm going to go to the beginning of the piece. I'm going to expand the melodic tracks as well. It's all going to go off screen because there's not enough to see everything. But what I'm going to do now is play this thing beginning to end. Right. I've been your host, Andre Louis. This has been Inspired by Sound. If you like this series, do check out the rest of them on YouTube. There's a playlist dedicated to them. And definitely go check out Vanwood Consulting. If you're in Michigan especially, if you've got blind children, you might find them useful. Have you enjoyed this? Hope so. It's been educational for me too, and I'll tell you why. Because as the person that made this, I don't always know what came from where, and I find it very, very fascinating to go over it top to bottom, looking at all the things. Because although I made it, I don't always think about what is coming from what place, do you know what I mean? So when you break it down like this, it's always a sort of floating in space feeling for me, looking at all these separate things, and I really enjoy that. Please do me a favor if you would be so kind though. Please do like and share this video because the algorithm only shares videos that it thinks people like. So even pressing the old like button generally helps. I know a lot of people say that all the time and you're probably sick of hearing it, but I'm a baby channel. Very, very few subs. Obviously trying to make that more, but I know that long form videos are out of touch nowadays. I should be more in touch with the kids. Shorts everywhere, shorts. But I like long form videos. I'm still going to make them because I enjoy them. If you enjoy this sort of thing, let me know. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I'm really, really thirsty now though, gotta say. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day, weekend, year, whatever you wish. Stay in touch. There'll be more videos like this in the future. You can be sure of that. All the best. Take care.